Hi everyone, my name is Jana Eubank. I'm here today for Blvd with the scrapbooking process video featuring the Popsicles and Pandas collection. I love this collection. It's so cute and just perfect for summer. You can see all the cute icons and patterns as I flip through them here and decide which papers I want to use along with these photos of my family enjoying an ice cream treat last summer. Now my photos are quite busy because there's so many people and so many colors going on. So I choose to use the more subtle patterns to build up my layout, and then I pop it with the striped paper and the border paper. I had already pulled out some coordinating cardstock, and I choose to mat my photos with this yellow piece. I use some matting rulers and I add a 1/8 inch border around both of these photos. Now I decided to mat both of them with the yellow, but in a few minutes I decided to change this smaller photo to a navy cardstock just to give it a bit more variety and to tie it in with some other elements that I'm going to put on the page. I want to add this striped paper to the top, and to define the gingham picnic paper a little better, I decide to mat it with the navy cardstock. But first, I flip it over and look at the borders on the other side, and I decide to cut out this trio of borders to use on the bottom. I try a few other borders to see if I want to change my mind, but I go back to the striped paper that I picked the first time around. So here I cut a small strip of the navy cardstock and add it to the top edge of the picnic paper. And then I use some pinking shears to just add a decorative edge. This keeps everything from looking so blocky or straight and just adds a bit of texture to the page. I'm just using the grid pattern on my mat to help me line it up. And here's where I change the smaller photo mat to navy to tie in with the zigzag border at the top. And instead of the 1/8 inch border, I change this one to a 1/16 inch border. And I like that way that looks. So I go back to the trio of borders and I decide to mat that with the navy cardstock to define that a little bit more. And I leave the top edge straight, and then I pull out the pinking shears again and cut the bottom so that the zigzag will match the zigzag at the top of the page, just repeating that element. So now I start pulling out the other embellishments for this collection and deciding where I want my title, what my title is going to be, and the other pieces I want to include on this page. So I used the border as inspiration for my title, and I decide that I want my title to be Sweet Summer Treat. I use this sweet acrylic word, and then I'll build up the rest of the title with some die cuts and the letter stickers. Of course, I had to pull out that darling panda with the ice cream cone and the flowers and then the clouds. All of those are from the Paper Pieces pack. Here I put the paper piece die cut summer below the word sweet, and now I'm spelling out the word treat with the yellow letter stickers from the fundamental sticker sheet. I placed them on navy blue cardstock, and now I'm just trimming it down into a block, and that helps that word to stand out against the colorful border strip underneath it. I like the way that the panda is sitting on the border, but I feel like I want to add in a bit more color. So I pull out the green dot paper, the Daily Details paper, and decide to kind of make him some grass to sit on. I had this curvy ruler by Fiskars, and I use it to cut a curved edge. I decide that it's not curvy enough, so I use it as a guide and go back and just kind of hand cut it with a deeper curve. And I'm going to trim that with my scissors, and then I'm going to lay it over the main photo so that the curve is kind of hugging it, and I really like the way that looks. Here I'm just going to play with the green paper a bit more. I'm trying to decide if I want a curve along the bottom edge as well. So I go ahead and mat that with the navy blue cardstock and give that a try. But when I set it down, I decide that I like the trio of borders on top with just the straight edge along the bottom of the green. And I'm loving the way that looks, so I start to place back everything back onto the page and continue designing. I love the cute clips, and I decide that I want to try to put a couple above my photo. And so I'm just choosing some here and deciding which ones I want to tuck in back at the top. The clips were kind of poking down over my head in the photos, so I just decided to adhere them behind. There's an awkward little space to the left of the treat word, and I'm playing with a few things to see how I want to fill that in. I put the puffy summer sticker in between the sweet and the treat words because I liked the way that it fit into that little spot. But later on at the very end, I decide that it's not enough color, and I actually switch back to the yellow and red summer that you see in the upper left-hand corner of the screen. So I'll switch that out later. I started to adhere the puffy clouds to the top. I had inked them with some gray ink, and then I was using foam squares to add them. And then I realized, oh, I haven't glued anything down. So I go back and get everything into place so I can continue adding things and designing. Just adding the clips to the top. And then I'll get the title and that cute little panda bear back into place. I popped the panda up with some foam squares so that he is at the same level as the acrylic word. And then I add some foam to the back of the summer words to lift that a bit so that it fits on top of the acrylic word nicely. So that little awkward space that I talked about to the left of the word treat, I decided to add an epoxy shape there, and it works awesome. I added the flower die cuts to the left of the panda, and then I pulled the ticket, the blue lemonade ticket, and this phrase sticker that says "Oh Summer" to the left of the flowers. I actually buggered up the green paper to the left of the small photo, so I was hoping that those little phrase stickers would cover it, but it didn't go far enough, so I decided to add in this little flower vase to cover that. You can't really see it on camera, but I did pull up part of the pattern paper where the little white, core of the paper is showing. So I'm just working with that and covering that right now with the die cut. At this point, I do pull off the 2 clips because I start to think about my journaling. I'm terrible. I always think about my journaling at the end, but there is quite a long story that I wanted to add to this page, so I decide that I need to leave that space for the journaling, and I'm going to put part of the journaling above my photo and then part of it below the title. Before I do that, I do toy with putting the ice cream puffy sticker up there just for some embellishment, but I just decide to see how the journaling fits, and then I'll come back to that if I need to. I do add the puffy ice cream cone to the right of the title, as well as a flower die cut. And then I just move the panda bear down a little bit to kind of overlap the icon, the epoxy icon. So I created some journaling strips on my computer, and I'm just cutting them out with some scissors, and then I will get those adhered down. And this layout is finished. I love the way it came together. I love that cute little panda bear, and I love this collection. I hope you enjoyed seeing this page come together, and thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. Stay tuned for some closing shots of my page, and again, I'm Jana Eubank for Bella Boulevard. Happy scrapbooking!